First of all, and obviously, good afternoon to everybody. A warm welcome to today's webinar about our recent published and long-awaited feature, the Flow Builder. Matthias and Timmy will give you a deep dive into the details and functionalities of the Flow Builder and how you can automate and customize your complex business procedures.
Yeah, thank you, Claudia. And yeah, well, I will just give you a short, more like a theoretical, abstract overview about what is the Flow Builder about, and after that, Timmy will finally show you the good stuff, how the tool actually works and how it really looks like, besides just seeing it on slides, like I will do before. Yeah, but first of all, welcome from my side as well. I'm really happy that you are here today, that you joined us today for this webinar. My name is Matthias, and I'm the responsible product owner for the Flow Builder. And I will be coordinating the further development of the Flow Builder in the next time. And that's because I'm kind of naturally looking forward to this webinar today. And especially I'm interested in your impressions and your feedback for the Flow Builder. And I'm really curious about what you would like to use the Flow Builder for and learn more about you and your business needs. And of course, not only out of personal interest, but those inputs can really help us to determine how we can extend the Flow Builder accordingly so that the Flow Builder fits perfectly to most of your business. Well, that had a certain reason, because the general is kind of an open technology. It's not like a really specific tool to do just one job. It's a more kind of platform or framework where you can work with in your everyday business. And it really opens up a lot of different possibilities. And what we are going to show you today is here only the first step in the overall conceptual development. So feedback from the people using the Flow Builder actually is really of the essence here for us to build and enhance the Flow Builder in the next month and years. But at first, let me explain a little bit more about what is our goal for the Flow Builder. What is the Flow Builder in general about? And to put it in a straightforward sentence, we would say that our no-code Flow Builder facilitates our merchants to automate and easily adapt their business processes without programming knowledge. So you can see here's an emphasis on no code and no programming knowledge. So it's all about individualizing Shopware and doing that without the need of actually going deep into the core and change code there. It's about that you can do it in the admin, in your everyday work. So in the end, with the Flow Builder, we want to make it easier for store operators to put their own business-specific individual processes in a Shopware-like software. And to be more specific, this means at first the individualization of the software itself, instead of rigid processes in a software where you as a shop operator has to knit your processes around to make it work with Shopware. We want to put it the other way around. We want Shopware to be flexible enough to adapt to your business-specific needs and processes. And another part is the automation, or let's say digitalization of processes that you previously maybe carried out manually. And in the worst case, you did that still on two separate systems, like you have your Excel file here and you have your Shopware listening there, and you always have to cut and copy. And have to do it 3 times a day or something like that. Stuff like where a lot of time and resources were lost in kind of repetitive tasks you have to do manually here. So that's basically a thing the Flow Builder tries to solve for you. And furthermore, to be flexible with this, business opportunities are changing, businesses are changing, and so is their development. And we want to make it easy for you to quickly adapt Shopware and to these changes without the need to reprogram or change everything again. Just by using the Flow Builder, this should be possible. So basically, our Flow Builder solves exactly this and tries to provide you this adaptability, flexibility, individualization, and automation, so that are these buzzwords you require in the everyday business. And maybe you can imagine the Flow Builder of more like some very good employee we add to your office, which takes over a lot of tasks in the everyday business. So enough of this abstract stuff. Let's look a little bit more into the details. How does the Flow Builder work? And first, let me say a few words because it's often confused and it's really kind of difficult to tear apart. Is on the one side the rule builder and the flow builder. The rule builder, most of you probably know already. And on the one side, you might think, okay, is the rule builder the base for the flow builder? Is the flow builder just a next evolution of the rule builder? It's often difficult to tell apart. But to make it quite clear, the rule builder is something completely different than the flow builder here, even though they interact with each other. The rule builder basically allows you to define logical expressions and to allow Shopware make decisions based on your customer's context, like is this shipping type available? Is this payment type available? Yes or no? Is this price the perfect price for the customer or the price he needs? Or is this price, this shipping cost? So basically all things where you just need to make a single specific decision inside of Shopware. That's a task for the rule builder. And the flow builder basically goes beyond that. And the flow builder allows you to react to certain events and to execute complex and individual reactions to those events. And of course, what happens here is that the rules are a big part in the flow builder, but they don't have to be. So it's two completely different systems. Another important thing is currently we have in Shopware the business events, where you can define based on certain triggers or events and reaction. So it's basically all mostly all the time something like a customer has been registered, then you might want to check a rule if this should be the event should be executed or not, and then you can define basically just one action. You can send an email. And this is basically where the flow builder emerges from, so to speak. See, it starts with this idea and puts it to another level. This means currently business events and flow builder are both existing separately in your Shopware instance. If you have installed the recent Shopware version, you see you have business events and the flow builder. And that is because they are both basically designed to do the same job, just that the flow builder goes beyond that what the business events do. So that means currently in the long run, the business events will be removed from Shopware with the next major version. And we try to migrate everything that's inside the business events right now into a flow, so that you don't have to manage both systems. They are going to be one in the long run. But on this, this is basically the base for the flow builder, where we come from and what it extends. So for you important, if you have many business events in the long run, the system will go into the flow builder. And we provide a migration path here, but about the details, maybe that's something for the Q&A. How do we now solve these all, what I told you about? What is the flow builder now actually? Tim is going to show you more about the details of the workings here. In general, we have three parts in the flow builder. On the one side, we have triggers, then we have conditions, and on the other side, we have actions. And you are able to completely mix those things together. You can define multiple conditions as much as you want. You can nest them in different ways, and you can assign every time different actions which can be executed as a result of conditions. So something like here, you have something like an order is placed. You want to check if the customer is from USA. If that's false, do nothing. If that's true, send him a specific email. Timmy will show you more complex and interesting examples than this one. So we have three blocks here: triggers, conditions, and the actions. And well, let's take a little bit more a deep dive into what is triggers and actions about. The conditions is exactly the part I mentioned before. The conditions is that where the rules come to take place. As you can see, you don't necessarily need a condition. You could directly go from a trigger to your actions. But as you can see, with the conditions, you really put it to another level by combining and really checking different kinds of conditions here and execute different kinds of behavior depending on your conditions. So that's what I meant when I said the flow builder and rule builder are different systems, but of course the flow builder massively builds and needs the rules, even if not exclusively. So at first, when we take a look at the triggers, right now, this is basically the triggers you already know from the business events. With these triggers, you are able to react to different high-level business events, like something a customer has done, like an order has been placed or a customer has been registered. That are events on which you can react. Or more specifically, you can react to status changes of an order. So every time an order status has transitioned from one state to another, you can execute a flow based on this. Basically, right now, that's the same triggers and events you have with the business events. So of course, there's a lot of potential to build up and extend this. What might be interesting for you, we have planned here to think about more like approach. Right now, we have this approach of business events, which execute a flow, but maybe in the long run or mid-run, it might be interesting to have more time-based triggers approach so that you can say every Monday at 9 o'clock, you want to execute a specific flow. We plan on doing some kind of webhook or URL-based triggers. And that means that you can, that external systems, like, I don't know if you have some kind of external system which has an API and wants to talk to a Shopware's API that is able to execute a flow actually, so that you can basically trigger a flow action based on an API request or something like that. And of course, we want to extend the current events we have. Right now, they are quite limited, but we want to add more different stage changes. For example, every time a new review has been entered in your shop, or every time the product of a stock has changed, you want to execute a flow. And the fourth point we are thinking of here in terms of triggers is that we want to maybe link the flow builder directly with certain other parts of the shop, like form build with the form builder, so that you can say every time this form has been filled out and sent, you want to execute this flow. Or you might want to combine it with the bulk edit, like saying for this 100 orders, execute this flow and do that and this with the data. So that is what we've planned here. Currently, it's based on the business events, but there's a lot of opportunity, as you can see here, on where we can go. So that's why I'm interested in your feedback here to know what do you think of this and what do you want to do with that. And the besides the triggers and the rules, the third block in the flow builder are the actions. And currently we have these 5 to 6 you see on the left side. At first, of course, you can manage everything that is related about emails. You can send emails like you can now with the business events. You can manage documents you want to attach to those emails and manage the creation of, I don't know, order receipts and invoices and something like this. And of course, you can change the order status now in a flow. And that's quite interesting because you have more control about the actual order status and transition flows. So it's not that a manual task more, or that we have defined in Shopware. You can define different order statuses then based on your flow and your conditions. So you have a lot more control about this here. And another point, it might look a little bit uninteresting on the first glimpse. It's the add and remove tag functionality. So you're able to add a tag or remove a tag to a customer or an order inside of a flow. And on the first view, it might not look very, very interesting. But if you think about it in the long run, it really gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of enriching data here. So you can basically are able to tag customers maybe on their buying behavior, or tag orders which are combine certain different types of metrics as you want to evaluate later. So it really gives you a lot of opportunities in the long run and in terms of your business processes. So small feature, but with a lot of impact, I think. And what is not listed here in this screenshot you see, but which is included with the professional edition upwards, is the possibility to execute webhooks. And Timmy will show you more about this later on. But this is really a cool thing, because it allows you to basically talk to every modern third-party system which has its own API, so that you can basically just in a flow inform a third-party system, software system, that something has changed in Shopware, and the system can react to these changes. So, well, this will be a really good example of this in the show later on. And what we are planning here to do is in the long and in the next weeks is think about different kinds of actions and how to execute them. For example, think of more like delayed actions. Right now, every time the flow is executed, all these actions are then executed as well. But maybe you want to have something like 3 days after the flow has been triggered, you want to execute these actions. And this is might be an idea if you have something like you want to have something like an order has been placed, and 3 days later you want to ask for a review for this order, or if everything was okay with this order, or ask for a rating. So you have some kind of after sales communication. That would be a scenario what you could do with this delayed actions. You want to give a little bit more control about the general execution of a flow. So which way will a flow actually take after it has been executed, to give them more control about this. And the third and biggest point is something I here just called composable interactions with the system itself, by which we mean that we will focus more on actions which allows you to interact with Shopware itself, which allows you to change information inside of Shopware here, instead of going through to big integrations like I don't know, we probably won't see many interactions like send an SMS or something, or a push message from our side. We won't develop this in the long run, because that's more like a thing better handled by third-party providers, and we want to focus really on really specific and small items which helps you to build your business processes inside of Shopware. So that's meant with what I mean here is composable interactions. Just as I said, just one word. The Flow Builder is available since this month in every Shopware edition, from the community edition upwards, as well as on cloud. There's only one limitation. We have these webhook action I just told you. It's only available with the professional and enterprise edition as a separate plugin. So that's more like a special feature we don't have in the community edition. So, but the Flow Builder and the general logic, you can everything. There's no limitations in terms of what you can do with the Flow Builder. Only on the side of the actions there are some limitations and differentiations between the editions. And I think that's from my side now everything I wanted to say. Only thing, as you might see, we have now a solid base for the Flow Builder, and it's, as I said, a quite open technology. So for us, it's really interesting about what you think about the Flow Builder, and so your feedback is really important. Welcome here to help us align the Flow Builder with your businesses. And now enough from the boring theoretical slide parts. Timmy, maybe you may show us the cool stuff now.
To get this started, I'm first going to make a email template so I can distinguish between a normal invoice and an invoice with bank details. So I'll just duplicate it and write it with bank details. This is very important for us, so we can distinguish between the two invoices in the Flow Builder. So then I'll heading back, go into the Flow Builder, and now I want to create a flow to send the customers the invoice. Send invoice 31, activate, and now I'm going to set up the flow. For this, we need to trigger. The trigger is going to be order placed, so that's what we want. And now the interesting part is we want an if condition. Well, if the condition is I created a payment is invoice, I created this beforehand, and now I can set it up. Now, if it's true, then we first want to generate a document, and we're going to create an invoice, since that's what we want to send. Then we need to select send email, and now I just see the invoice. And it says, that's why I wrote with bank details, because it's important that I can pick both invoices. And next thing I want to do, I actually want to tag this customer, so I know the moment he does, it says invoice sent or an edit. Last, what I want to do is have a look, set the status, because these are done by invoices. I want it to be in progress. So Now everything's done for this order, but what if it's not an invoice? In this case, I just want to send the customer the normal invoice without bank details. So again, I'm going to create an invoice, add action. Now I'm going to send an email and use my template invoice, but the normal one. So this would look like this. Save it. And now to show you what it actually does, I'll go into my store, add something, proceed to checkout. And it is invoice. That's important, otherwise it won't trigger. Submit the order. Now it's processing. It will take some time. Once my machine is done, it should actually send out the email as requested. And I'm going to show you that as well. All right. Fairly slow today. Tested it before and it was a lot quicker. I haven't got a clue why it's taking so long, but it should work.
It's not the flow builder.
It's not the flow builder. It's definitely not the flow builder. That's my local machine, and I tried it before, but it worked. But I remember last time where I had, because I've basically got multiple systems on my system running at once, it does take a little bit of time. So the email should show up in here in just a little bit, but in the meanwhile, I can show you the order that I've just created. View order, there you see the tag, and it set the payment status to in progress, just like I defined in the flow builder. Yeah, emails do take a little bit of time. While we're waiting for the email to drop in, I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna show you another neat feature. What you can do. Go in settings, shop, go back to the flow builder, create a new flow, and this is, I'll call it bye-bye, because we want to know when a customer leaves us, that will actually get some information from him and why he left us. So we've activated, give it a priority, and now gonna define the flow. In this case, it's checkout customer deleted, because if a customer deletes it, then we want to know why. So in this case, we do not need another trigger. We're just going to go straight to action and say, send an email. Sorry to see you go. We send it with a contact form in this case, and add the action and save. That should be all. I don't know why the email's not coming up at all. Let me see there. Actually, it is. Give me 1 second. Overview. Just making this is the right account, so I just need to check that in this case. Now, if I want to delete my profile, okay, delete my profile, completely delete my account, and this should trigger the email to be sent in here. Maybe it's just, let me refresh. Okay, that's odd. Let me test this once again, see if I log in. I'll create a new account, Mr. Test. Since we're going to need it anyway for the next couple of tests, continue. I do not know what's going on there, but I can assure you it did actually work when I tested it before. So it's very, very weird why it's not doing it at all. I remember last time it took like 5 minutes to see if it sent out emails. Let me have a look at system. We can just see if it actually sent email. Mail should be sent. Great. That's weird. Okay, then we'll take a look at the emails a bit later. I'm just going to show you the next thing that I've got lined up for you in the Flow Builder. This time I'm going to use to get notifications in Slack. Let's call it Slack short priority 1, and it's active. Now, in this case, we're going to use, where is it? Checkout order placed, and we want to condition event. Now we're going to use the webhook. It's going to be post, and now I need to actually fill in the webhook, and that was the URL add action. So this should send out a message to my private Slack channel every time I get an order in here. So we're going to see if that goes smooth. Add a product. Proceed to checkout. I have the terms. Invoice. And we're going to submit the order.
Just maybe in the meantime, while it's still loading, just one question. Maybe you can just say where you got just pasted the URL for Slack there.
Yes.
Maybe you can say
sure.
How? Where did you get it from? So.
Actually, in this case, I've got from a colleague who already set it up, but normally you could go through. I think it was somewhere I read it in Slack how to use the APIs to connect something that we can send to this URL so that it is actually working and progressed in Slack. I can show you. What I can show you right now is that it actually works. Put that here. And as you see, in this case, we got a very, very short message just say, hey, you just received your new order. It's nothing fancy, but it works. And if you want to go and say, well, I would like some more information when we send the webhook, we can still edit the action, change the webhook for a different thing. And in this case, we're just going to add a body. We're going to use the type raw because we're putting in some Shopware code. It just tells me that's my system order number. I'll show you. Just save it. Save a complete order. And saved. So all I've done now is basically updated my order to see if I can get a better one. One with more information so that you actually need us to actually know if you just need to do something with it right away, or if you say we haven't got it in stock anyway, so let's wait it. Of course, the box. Now, well, you should see it come up here. It tells me again you've got a new order this time. It should tell me, it will tell me the order number, the customer. It will give me a link direct to my admin area so I can actually instantly start working on the order without having to go through the complete backend. Okay, see, no emails at all. In this case, it's the next order I've got. You see order, these texts I've preset. The only thing that's changing is what has been ordered and who's the customer, and of course, order number. So to just see now what has been ordered, we'll go back in. Why doesn't that work? Okay. View detail, is it? Overview. Overview. It should be in here anyway. So this is the last order. So that was the one we just saw in Slack, the 15. The invoice is sent. For some reason, it doesn't look like my setup email gets messages, but it doesn't matter. Still got my normal account. I can show you. I can show it to you in here. I'll just log in with my own details so that you can actually see. Thank you. Food. Peter. Nice washing machine. Again, leave it on invoice. I've read. Submit order. Wait for the order to come. Can open up Slack again to see when it's been processed, and it should now say me as a customer with my email address and tell me that the order came in. That's the order. That's my order now to see. My email is very, very slow. I think my laptop sounds like it's really hard working. Let me see. Okay. I think something in the machine isn't really working as it should because I haven't got an email in here right now. While I tested, I did get emails, so I tried everything this morning and but luckily, let me see if I can figure out why they're working. System, mailer, that looks fine. Might be a communication problem with Office. I'm not entirely sure what's causing this. So
maybe, hopefully, we have some proof at least that an email has been sent, and maybe I hope maybe.
In here you can see them. These are from the German ones, and they actually worked. So that's normally what you get with the invoice included.
I think it's because of the presentation mode. In Germany, you have this little sentence that always it happens when you are presenting it to other people.
Yes, it's normal. Last time I had a problem with the flow builder. It didn't show that the small you've got an order for some reason, and I extended it with all the details for the big one, and that one just worked fine. And I couldn't figure out what was causing it. It was very annoying, but
let's maybe let's just hope everyone here believes that it works. At least you could see that in Slack it's working. So when it's working in Slack, so and the email system usually works fine with Shopware in let's say 99% of the cases. So
it does.
It works. So yeah, maybe you can proceed then. Just
it was. I think I've got all 4 that I've set up. If there's anything else that you think that I should show, just
maybe we can take 2 things here. I just had a question. Someone wanted to ask, could you show us an example of how to send an email right after the order to the customer and the shop owner at the same time? So now we send only to the customer, and maybe can I just add a second email, send my action, which is sending an email to the
be safe. Flow is again checkout order placed. In this case, we're going to go just send it out action plan. If you just want to send out the basic invoice without documents, you can just do that in invoice, and that's the invoice. Add action. This goes to the customer, and we can define another action. Add action. Now I need to figure out send email. In this case, admin, or you can use the customer, wherever you want it to go. Just use the admin. Take the same invoice, add action, and now this will be precisely that flow. It would first send out the email to the customer and then send the email to, I picked the wrong template, but would send the email to the administrator or whatever email address you want to use in there.
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. You could add many more send email actions as well. Yeah. And you could also add them not in a separate block, but in the same block. So you have to send mails direct after another. It might then be a little bit more not that good overview for you as a shop shop owner right now, which of both actions is actually the one to the you see you have to send mails just here, so might be a little bit confusing in the overview. Maybe that's something we can take a look at on our side. Yeah, but just maybe can you just go to the webhook action for Shopware as well? So just that we can take a look at the actions there, the settings there.
Generate webhook. All right.
And yeah, it's the thing is maybe it's a little bit the technical feature here. So you need to know how webhooks and the whole API stuff works to really use this one. If you don't have any good documentation on your vendor side, what you can do is you can define different kind of webhook requests. So it's just getting using a get request or a post request, and you can assign different parameters to the URL. And especially when you take a look at the post request, when you select this one, then you have here 4 tabs. The right one is just basically if you have some kind of authentication required for calling the webhook. The header parameter tab is where you can enter more specific. If your system requires a specific kind of HTTP header set, you can do that here. And more important is the body part, where you can really define different kind of payload you want to send out using the webhook. So you're not just calling a webhook do something, but you can transmit actually data, and you can use there are 2 types in general. That's the last form URL encoded. When you click on this one, then you have more like some kind of define a parameter and define the data available here, and the data can basically be the order ID, or whatever. Right now it's all kind of order related data, but in the long run we can of course extend it. And when you choose the raw format, you have a little bit more complex kind of entering data here. So for Slack it was a JSON string, I guess, something like this, and you could submit.
Sure, I can put it.
You have some kind of, as you can see, you can use the Shopware template variables and mechanisms here to build in this case a JSON request and send data of all kind uses this webhook thing. I think that's what might be interesting for everyone here as well. So
I just figure out why it didn't work in this case with the order. If you look at my order, it's 6.4. And it's 646. I had a typo in there. That's why I couldn't click on the link.
So yeah, as you see, you have to be. It's a complex thing, and you have to be really careful. And one can easily oversee something here. So
yes, you can.
But yeah, that's I think one of the most important things here. So can take a look if there are questions from the audience, I think.
Yeah, then I would take over because actually there are a couple of questions. Let me just go through them right now. Open the window. So maybe the first question was, does the Flow Builder integrate with the B2B Suite?
Well, it depends on what you expect here. There are 2 parts we already inquired with the B2B Suite. It integrates in this far that the triggers which are defined by the B2B Suite are available in the Flow Builder as well. And there was a topic about different order statuses you have in the B2B Suite. And those are available in the Flow Builder then as well. At least, maybe not right now in this version, but at least in the next version, which will be then, we're going to release continuous and monthly releases in the next December. We will have that addressed there as well. At least in this respect, the Flow Builder integrates with the B2B Suite, but if you have something more in mind with your question, then please specify. From my perspective, in this regard, it integrates with the B2B Suite.
Perfect. Thank you, Matthias. You just mentioned December. I now realized that we are really at the end of the year already. It's crazy.
Yeah. Always faster than you think.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, anyway, let's move ahead with the next question. Is it possible to develop or add an own custom action which can be used in the Flow Builder?
Yes, that's perfectly possible. With the plugin, you can extend the Flow Builder in basically every direction. You can define, of course, new triggers, which can be used in the flow then, or of course you can define actions which can be used in the flow as well. We are working on a developer documentation here with a short example to how to write such an extension. I don't know how the progress is here, but it will be available in the next weeks as well. So there you have a blueprint on how to build a plugin that extends webhook actions. So that's perfectly possible. You can extend the Flow Builder by using plugins.
Okay. I think this also directly answered the question, or maybe just a little bit. Can you use it to launch custom code or comments?
Yeah, I think that might go in the same direction. Yeah. Of course, you can't enter custom code inside of the flow, like so you have some kind of PHP text field where you enter code. That's not possible for several reasons. But of course, you can extend the Flow Builder by using plugins, and in this regard, you can execute custom code and commands here.
Perfect. Another question, are custom order attributes also available here? So I think if somebody adjusted the attributes in the order process. But
I'm not sure exactly. Basically, everything the order entity, the database model, so to speak, of the order, everything that offers the order should be usable in kind of templates or the flow when you want to give it to a template or something. Currently in the rule builder, there are a few missing conditions right now. If you want to be more specific about, if you want to make more conditions asking for special settings for an order, they are missing right now. But we got this on the road or on our monitors. I don't know if you say on our screen. I don't know. In English, in Germany, it works perfectly. The sentence. Everything attached there, like custom fields or something, should be available there as well. If not, that is a perfect example of what I meant for feedback. If there's something missing, let us know, and that's really important to address this and have of course all data available you need.
Yeah, it was actually also meant because there was an addition just coming in. Are custom order attributes also available here, which meant the webhooks and special?
Yeah, they should be there. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Then we have another important question. Does the Flow Builder work with plugins?
Yeah, well, I think okay, it depends on what is meant by work with plugins, of course, or what the plugins do. Of course, as I said, plugins can extend the Flow Builder in every direction, but of course they need to do that and need to be adapted to this. I don't know if you have something else in mind. Then yeah, please, happy to specify your question if that's not what you meant with this question.
So we will wait for that if the question was not completely answered until now. Meanwhile, we can go on with the next question. How many flows and rules can be active at the same time overall in the system without running into performance or stability problems?
We don't have a rule of thumb here on how. Basically, there can be as much as database bases available, so there's no limitation about this here. Of course, flows in general don't, from themselves, have a big performance impact, but the rules are so if you speak of this performance cost intensive parts here. So there's no rule of thumb. You need to be aware of this, that it can have a performance impact here, but you need to take a look at this individually, so to speak. There's no real guideline or rule of thumb here. So in this regard.
Okay. Then the next one, is there a log for each flow to see if the trigger was performed or not, or if there was an error?
Currently, unfortunately, you have the log Timmy showed you, the general system log, but there's no specific log for the flow builder right now where you can see past executions and of course, if that was successful and what was executed. But that was an example. We had this feature not included, but heard a lot of feedback regarding exactly this question about logging and debugging and finding errors. So that's an example of the feedback. If that's a big request now, we are working on that you can do two things. On the one side, we're working on that you can do some kind of test run for a flow so that you know if does the flow do what I want it to do, so that you have some kind of testing the flow directly in the admin. And on the other side, of course, what has happened in the last executions? Did my flows work? Was there an error or something like this? Of course, the logging, right now, there's no good logging functionality, but we're working on this with a higher priority.
That's a good answer, I guess. Is it possible to export or import any flow?
That's currently it's not possible, but this is a thing as well we are working on, because it provides a good use case on different levels on that you want to be able to use some kind of flow templates or want to import and export flows between different systems. Yeah, of course, it's a thing where you say if you want a scenario where you want to restore your default flows because you messed something up or something like this. In this regard, there will be a functionality to have flow templates you can import and export, and of course, in this maybe also whole flows to import and export. It depends a little bit on what you want to achieve. Of course, it doesn't make sense if you have complex rules which ask for specific settings on your system. Then it's of course difficult to import and export them. But if it's generic, then it's no problem. With more specific settings, then it's more the question, if you think of migrating between different systems, then yes, of course, this should be a thing included here as well, but that's maybe a thing you need to have an eye on.
Okay, thank you very much.
But currently, currently it's unfortunately not possible, but it's a thing as well with a higher priority on our list.
Perfect. Now we have a question that goes a little bit into the direction of a combination of a publisher or a publisher functionality within the flow builder. Somebody's asking, can flows be logged in time for users? Example, a dev makes a flow that replaces what would usually be the task, but doesn't want customer to change that, or doesn't want another user to change that.
So it's more like if I get this, more like some kind of a mechanism where you need an approval in a flow that really should be executed.
Yeah, that's the way I understood as well. Yeah.
If that's about this, it's currently not possible, but it is a feature we have not on a really high priority, but it's a scenario we see as well, that we want to have manual approvals for flows or some kind of approval workflow here and notification thing. But we are currently not can't give you some kind of idea on when this will happen. The other things I just mentioned are things you can expect in the next, not weeks or something, not months, but in the next in the near future. For everything there, you can take a look at the roadmap. I try to have it visible there for you as soon as possible and as detailed as possible. But this is an idea we have in mind, but not maybe in the next half year or something like this. So, but it's an important idea. But generally, right now, it's not possible.
Okay. Then we got another question here concerning integrations. How does the connection with, for example, an ERP system work, or is it possible at all?
Yeah, well, with the webhooks, in general, you are able to integrate everything, every modern third-party system which offers an API, and you can integrate this according to the API. Something like what we just saw, if you have a messaging service like Slack, you can, and it offers in a webhook, then you can, of course, use this webhook with Shopware. The same is about how to find out which system you can incorporate. Basically, every system that offers an API, you can integrate. Take, for example, if you have a tool like MailChimp, you can integrate it via the webhook. If you have something like, I don't know, newsletter tool like RapidMail, you can include it as well. CleverReach, CleverPush, all those services offer APIs you can address via webhook. For more business critical tasks, there you need to think of a fine, and we as well, of a fine line we maybe do not want to cross, because the flow builder is not specifically designed to handle really business critical tasks. And in this respect, I mean, tasks that never should fail. And because right now, what happens when a webhook fails, then it fails. So there won't be, right now, you don't have a message that the webhook fails, even with the log. That might not be the way to go here. If you want to transmit data which on no circumstances may be lost, then it might not be the case for the flow builder, and you might think about more an direct IPA integration. Because for example, you want to have a mechanism, if the webhook is not executed, try it again and try it again until success. Something like this is not currently in the scope of the flow builder. So yeah, that's some kind of rule of thumb where I want to take a look in another direction and not the flow builder.
Okay. We have two more questions which actually asked if we can show something in combination with sending out emails, but will be right now a little bit problematic because there is the problem with the connection from Shopware to Outlook. So I'm sorry to not be able to answer on that or not able to show you. But we do have another question, which could be important, or at least to say it again, because I think it was mentioned already. In which editions will the feature be available, and when exactly is the flow builder activated? So which version do you need to be able to use it?
You need the current version 6.4.6.0 it is. Since then, we have the flow builder available, and it's still available in every edition, as well as in the cloud. The only thing is that we have certain features, like now, right now it's only the webhook action, which is only available in the professional edition upwards. So if you are a community, if you are a community edition user and you want to use webhooks, then we don't offer them for the professional edition. But of course, there's no limit, so to speak, that you dig into the code and add some kind of action like this on your own. But the whole flow builder, the core functionality of the flow builder with everything we just saw, except the webhooks, is available everywhere.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks a lot for answering all of the questions. I think that we are slowly coming into an end, as there are, I think, all questions answered already. What is very important, every feedback is highly appreciated from your side. So it's super important for us to get any feedback from the community. Whenever you see that any business procedure of you is somehow missing, please give us the feedback. Please reach out to your account manager. Reach out to your partner who has a direct contact person at Shopware, or through our Slack channel, through our community Slack channel, so that this feedback can reach directly us and our dev department. because as Matthias said at the beginning, it's just released, just this features in the new release. And it's the beginning. So we still continue to develop more and more functionalities. So please feel free, give us any kind of feedback and honest feedback so we can improve everything that was done until now and add some relevant business cases if not already included. So it was super nice to have this webinar this afternoon with you guys. I hope you got to know what the Flow Builder is about. Got a little bit of a deep dive, and the video was recorded, so you will get the recordings afterwards. Also, for those who did not have the possibility to join this afternoon. And we're always happy about feedback, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks you very much for the questions.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.